Alright, what we're going to do here is we're going to show the position and production report while we work on scanning. So we did add a job to show the engraved scanning. And what I'm going to do is bring up a traveler for engraved. We're going to go to the iPad. I'm going to go to production, engrave, scan jobs in, and we're going to hit that barcode, and that should move all the parts to engrave. Now when we show the jobs out of engrave, so there's two ways to scan or to move boxes, move parts. One is to scan, and the other is to simply use the buttons that are already on the iPad. So if you have an iPad and you don't have access to a scanner or don't want to use a scanner, you can simply move the boxes this way. Now in the engraved section, what we've done is you see we have a job of 10 travelers that came from receiving. That's what they palletized in. Each one has 40 parts. Now if we were to have some misfires out of the parts, the rule here, or kind of maybe a best practice to say, well, if I have 2 out of the first box and 2 out of the second box, it might be wiser to just cascade the boxes up and not add up all your misfires until the last box and then hit the misfire button and say, okay, if I've got 5 altogether, the last box going out will have 35 parts with 5 misfires. All the other boxes will have 40. Just to think it makes a little more sense, but you could do it either way. You could just say, okay, I'm going to add them as I go. So that's how that part works there. Now, let's go to our samples that we were starting with, because we were not only showing scanning, but we wanted to show, is there something wrong maybe with these parts for this particular customer. So we're going to go to Blast, and what we want to do is bring up the travelers for Blast. Okay, so that's going to be this set of travelers here from receiving. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, let's scan the jobs in. And we go ahead and we hit the first one. And what this system is going to do is now set up a production traveler and say, okay, this traveler, the first one, you're definitely going to always take all the parts from the first box you hit. So the total parts out of this job was 40. It didn't ask you for the number of parts. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up to the second traveler in my PDF screen there, and I'm going to go add another box, and we're going to hit that barcode. And now the system's going to say, well, how many parts are you taking out of here? 40. Okay. So now we have 80 parts added to this job. One of the important things here turn on some more light. One of the important things here is that what we want to do is keep the responsibility to what a person's doing to the electronic movements of what they're doing. Not just automatically take all the parts, because that's not true to form. People are not always going to take all the parts out of a box. So I'm going to add another box now, and what I'm going to do is scroll up to the next traveler for that box, and I'm going to hit that barcode, but I'm going to say I'm only going to take, out of the 40, I'm only going to take 20 of these, and I'm going to hit OK. So now I have 100 added to this traveler, which left us a box of 20. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this traveler, and I'm going to print this traveler. Saying that my printer is out of paper, so we're going to put some paper in there. And there's my traveler for this job. So now what we've done is we have taken 3 original boxes that came into receiving. They had 3 travelers associated with them in the beginning. Now, we're always going to have the receiving travelers, but in theory, what's going on now is 2.5 boxes have 1 traveler. associated with them. So if we go back and look at our position traveler report, we can see for this 11111 job that a total of 400 parts, 300 have not been brought into blast, 100 are in blast. So why do we need this production traveler, right? So we have the receiving travelers, we have the production traveler. Well, when we go to blast and we want to scan the job out, we need something to scan. So we would hit that barcode. System's going to ask us if we want to scan another one. I don't want to scan anymore right now, so I don't have any set up, and it's letting us know those parts have now been moved to the next department. So if we look back at our position travel report, we'll see that the 100 parts moved all to not in rack. So now if we go to rack, and we have multiple options on rack. Why multiple options? Because when jobs come in, the first part of the recipe may be blast, it may be rack. So the system has to know what's coming directly from the cage to rack and what's coming from blast to rack. So we've got scan cage jobs in and we have scan blast jobs in. So I'm going to go ahead and scan the blast job in. Oh, and we scan that with a hand scanner. Okay, so it says hand scanner. Scan with a hand scanner. So I bring up my hand scanner. Hopefully it's still attached to the iPad. I hit the barcode, and it says hand scanner. Do you want to scan another one? You know, so I don't. So I just tell the system that I'm done. So now, if we go back and look at our position traveler report, we can see that 100 have moved to rack. So now we want to scan jobs out, and again with the hand scanner, we just hit it with the hand scanner, and now the parts are showing as not in anodize. So we can go to anodize, scan jobs in, grab the hand scanner, scan the job. We don't want to scan another one, so we're done with that one. And we should show 100 parts in anodize, which we do. So now we want to scan the jobs out. We hit scan jobs out, and now they're ready to go to unrack. So we're done with that. So when we go to unrack and we want to scan jobs in, it's going to go back to scanning with the hand scanner. So we scan it in with the hand scanner and we say we're done. And now we have the 100 parts in unrack. But when we go to move them out, so we want to scan jobs out. So I'm going to scan the production traveler. But here's kind of the tricky part. We've scanned it, but now what we're going to from here is we're going to trays. So we want to show that what we're going to do is we had 100 parts that came into rack from this traveler. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and put what, 20 parts on 5 trays, let's say. So we're going to say there's 20 on the first one, and then it automatically gives us a second box to add another 20. And the amount doesn't matter. It's showing a countdown in the box, so it says we still have 60 to go. You know, we could put 30 on a tray. It doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter how many tray travelers we create. No, all this doesn't even matter. We could put whatever is actually on the tray. So it's saying we have another 30 to go. So we'll say we have 20. And then we have, the last is 10. So we have 10. So we say we're done. And we complete the process. Now it's doing a lot of work behind the scenes to get all these parts and files moved away from being now a production traveler. So those 100 parts, it's telling us it's been moved to the next department. So we say, okay. We can see now the 100 parts are not in DFL. But this traveler now is basically dead. And it's going to be taken over by these smaller tray travelers. Okay? So the original traveler we got from receiving, that's always going to live in the system because it's the original. And the common denominator is the box and how we receive that box and the number of parts. The production traveler is only going to live for as long as it needs to live. And then it serves no purpose. So that production traveler is no good. We can now see that we have 100 parts that are not in DFL. So if we go to DFL and you say, okay, I want to scan jobs in, we click that. It's another hand scanner. So we what if I try to scan a second traveler? Okay, it took that one, and then I can hit the second one, and I can hit the third one. So I'm having a problem with the first one for some reason. We're going to have to look at that. A little bit of a bug. But I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I'm going to tell the system I'm done. It says those parts have been moved. Okay. So what we're showing now is 400 parts total. 300 not even gone into blast yet. DFL has 30 that have not gone to its section yet, and 70 that have gone to its section. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our main screen. We'll bring that up now. And let's go look at adjustment by coaches. And let's select this 1 series job and see where we're at. So you can see here now we have no production travelers associated, which is correct. And we have these 100 parts worth of tray travelers associated, and they're showing in the right positions. So 3 are in DFL, right? So it's showing 30, 50, 70 parts in DFL, and 30 parts across 2 trays not in DFL. And then here's all our pieces over here. Now it's at this point as well from a coach's point of view. So let's say at any point in time that we had the production traveler or we had these, and I wanted to say, well, you know what, though, some parts are going through some other process, and I'm going to take 2 parts away from this traveler that's in DFL. So now we have an orphan of 2 parts, and you see down here in our position control record keeping, we have an orphan of 2 parts. It also went back to the main DFL record and changed it from its 20 to 18 on both sides of the system. So that's very important, right? So if we go look at our position report, we're going to see that, well, here's what we got now. 300 total parts, not in blast yet. 30 parts, not in DFL. And 68, not 70 parts, in DFL. We have 2 out.